Welcome into the Hustle, Season 2, Episode 1, starting right now, Week 0 college football. We're looking towards futures, season win totals. We got you covered. A recap from Las Vegas as well. I am Drew Martin. We're brought to you by Viva Tequila Seltzer, WagerTalk.com as well, the best free live odds in the industry. Going around the horn here with my co-hosts. We got Kelly Stewart, CT Betts, Adam Trigger as well. Kelly in Vegas, welcome in. How you feeling today? Yeah, the jail conversation was one at dinner one night, and I'm kind of surprised too. There was a couple people kind of teetering that way, but hey, good friends taking care of them, getting them back to the room. That's something that good friends should do. We talking about a good friend, CT Betts, Viva Tequila Seltzer. Welcome in, bud. How you feeling?
Drew Martin Betts, I'm doing great, man. It's great to be back. Our producer and good friend Joe Ranieri was talking to me backstage. He's like, CT, I wanted to kill you. You didn't come. I was like, Joe, I couldn't have been happier. I wasn't there. My body doesn't hate me. I feel somewhat alive. Played some golf, hit the beach, and got ready for football. It's great to see your guys' mugs, and we're back, man. Season 2, sponsored by Viva Tequila Seltzer. And I was just telling Cal, it's like football season. Time to get rich. Let's start cashing those tickets, man.
Let's go right from the get-go. We got this Saturday, Week 0, a guy that I know is ready to get after it. That's Adam Trigger at Top Flight SI on Twitter, WagerTalk.com. Trig, welcome in, buddy.
What's up, Drew? I mean, I've been cashing baseball tickets all summer, so I don't know what Chris is talking about. Like football season, yeah, it's great, but you know.
But yeah, you've been cashing baseball tickets that you haven't been giving to me because all I got in Vegas was fucking losers. So here we are.
Well, you specifically said, Cal, that you don't need the you did an email purge, remember? And you said, I don't need the emails. I can go and get your picks anyway. Since you own.
I did do an email purge. It wasn't just you, Trig. I'm sick of all the incessant emails. I did a big, giant unsubscribe from all of the pain in my asses in my life. You included. You're right. I will not fully blame you, but you did only give me the losers this weekend.
That is still false. I put in a parlay for you as a little present that hit. And then you decided that you were going to put all of that on the Red Sox. So, I mean, you broke even.
Oh, but because you said the Red Sox was your best bet. Oh, my God. Can we just not talk about Vegas anymore? I don't even want to be friends with Trig after this weekend.
This is a football show. Let's go.
Dude, seriously. And speaking of not football-related things, Trig is the worst golfer. Do you know how many people were mad at me? 3 people were, in fact, mad at me that Trig was on their team.
Listen,
I'm just glad I didn't put him with Brett and Joe because they would have been so pissed at me.
Oh, Brett would have been so mad. But I thought you were going to put me with the Fade You guys, and we were just going to be obnoxious. You put me on like a PGA Tour group. And, yeah, no, I didn't. It took me – let's just put it this way. It took me 16 holes to warm up, but by 17, I played great on the last 2 holes. So
that's because it took you that long to sober up. Before we even left the Westgate, Trig's like 3 Red Bull vodkas in at 10 a.m. I'm like, what are you doing? Why are you so drunk? And he's like, I'm drunk because I'm not going to go play basketball today. It's golf. I'm like, okay. This is how today's going to go.
Yeah. That's why I pumped the brakes on going KIVs because, like, I didn't want to get out there. I know I'm not that good of a golfer and then, like, put alcohol in me. And then it's like, who knows what happens. Trig's talking about PGA guys out there. I mean, Trig, are you, like, regretting getting out there on the links?
No. Not at all, okay. Drew, because...
Drew, yes, he is. Every time me and Ariel drove around to his foursome, I should have played basketball. Like,
Listen, Cal, I'm just going to tell you why I don't regret it. Do I regret it? At the time, I said, man, you know what? Basketball was the easier decision. They're going to go run for an hour. They'll be back by 2 o'clock. But then I went and had Kelly tweeting out my crappy golf swing to all her followers. So it was a great call. Another sharp call by me. It was a great decision. Except I passed out by midnight because of like heat exhaustion. It was like 105 and I was like dying. And then we had a 5-hour meet and greet and I was just completely cooked by like midnight.
Him up? It's already episode 1. I want to strangle him.
Yeah. I was feeling that. You know what? That night, though, I was the one that like stayed out the latest, and I was wondering why. And sure enough, it was because everybody played golf and was so tired. And hey, it's making sense.
Oh, Drew, I was going to join you. So Jay Cornegay, who's going to join us here in a little bit, was so kind to suggest to drunken Ariel and Kelly that John Murray should comp us Benihana. So I was like, of course, give me an entire table. Trig did not respond. So there was not a spot for Trig at dinner. And I kind of felt bad, but like, I didn't know if he had other plans going on. So me, Drew, Fade, you guys, Uncle Ben, Joe, Alicia, Ariel, we had a great time at Benihana, and I was ready to go. I hit a second wind. What changed my attitude, Drew, was when the blackjack dealer pulled out multiple blackjacks and 20s in a row. I lost like a dime, and I was like, all right, I'm ready for bed now. I was totally ready to go, but that just killed me. Just destroyed any ounce of like happiness I had left from the weekend, and it was over.
Yeah, losing money at the tables does that. I mean, I saw an opening at the craps table. It was really loud, and I took it, made a couple $100. I look around, and everyone's gone. I'm just there by myself, and I'm not ready to go home yet. So it's just kind of like, here we go, Las Vegas. Let's get after it. And speaking of getting after it, we got to start talking about some college football picks. But a reminder here first, guys, VivaTequilaSeltzer.com. Go check it out. This stuff is really good. We heard you like tequila, but have you tried a tequila seltzer? Because I haven't tried a tequila seltzer until I tried this. This is a different type of drink. You know, a lot of people, these seltzers, I don't like them. Well, tequila seltzer makes it a little bit different. Meet Viva, sessionable premium Blanco tequila seltzer crafted with good ingredients to pair you with your good times. Available in 4 deliciously drinkable flavors, including elderberry, huckleberry, watermelon, and KIV's favorite, that is grapefruit. Each flavor complemented by light tequila taste and a touch of carbonation, 4.5% ABV. Served best cold. I like it with a shot of tequila on top for a loaded Viva. Hey, guys, check it out. VivaTequilaSeltzer.com. We got the recap section first. Trig, I should be quick. We're coming off of an off season here, but do want to give you the time. We got anything to recap before getting into the games?
So normally this will be our recap session. Today, we're going to talk about the first contest of the season. We're going to try to give away as much free stuff and free Viva as possible. And we're going to start with a week 0 contest. First of all, make sure you're following at Viva Tequila Seltzer. Make sure you're following The Hustle and WagerTalk. You have to be doing that to win, as well as retweet the contest or this show link. So as long as you retweet the contest or the show link with your pick, you're eligible for the contest. And basically, we did this once during college basketball last year, and everyone had a good time with it. So this is what we're going to do for Saturday. You need to pick the biggest outright underdog winner of the day. To qualify to win the contest, you have to pick the biggest dog winner. Now, there's only like a few games. So one option is right. So there's seven games. So another option is no underdog winner. Okay? So you either have to pick the biggest outright dog winner, or you can pick no underdog winner, which implies that every single favorite won. For contest purposes, North Texas will be -1, which means UTEP will be +1. Everything else is there's pretty big favorites there. The tiebreaker will be closest to the total number of points in Vanderbilt, Hawaii, which is the last game on the card. So that way, we'll basically have one winner, and if somehow 2 people get the same dog and pick the same number, we'll have 2 winners if that's the case, but I highly doubt that's going to happen. So pretty simple. Pick the biggest outright underdog winner, not against the points. There's some big ones on the card. So this should be pretty fun. Biggest outright underdog winner. You can pick no underdog, and the tiebreaker is closest to the total number of points scored in Vanderbilt, Hawaii. I'm going to write all this up in a tweet and tweet it out. But if you want to start getting your picks in, just tweet the show link with your picks. Winner's going to win some merch and some Viva. So a nice little prize pack there. We'll have some fun. Hopefully some of these big favorites go down on Saturday.
Good read there, Trig. I like it, man. Yeah, guys, look out for that on Twitter at Hustle Show Pod. We'll send you the merch, some Viva as well. And if you're new to sports betting, when he's talking about, the underdog, check out WagerTalk and WagerTalk.com and click on the live odds tab. That's how you can see where the odds are. All you got to do is click on college football under that, and that will give you the week 0 slate there. Those are the games to pick. And of course, look for that plus next to it. We got big game slate rundown right now. Everybody gets to choose one game going down in order here. CT Bets, haven't heard enough from you, man. Which game you got circled here?
Yeah, Drew, week 0, here we go. We're off to the races here, and I'm going to the one that probably everybody's looking at. Probably, I guess, the biggest game on the board, if you will, the Big Ten game, Saturday at 12:30 over in Ireland. And I'm taking the points here. I like the Wildcats plus 13.5 I got in my pocket right now. Be on the lookout there. I think you might be able to get 14 closer to game. I'll bet more when it does go to 14 here. But Northwestern, Drew, coming off a terrible season last year, 3-9 overall, 1-8 in Big Ten play. This record really doesn't represent Pat Fitzgerald football. He's a quality coach, knows what he's doing. Don't let this record fool you. I don't think it could get worse for the Wildcats this year. They get back 7 on offense, 5 on defense. This will be the second year for quarterback Ryan Helinski, the transfer from South Carolina. Last year was kind of like more of a freshman year for him. Offensive line will be strong. Give them some time. They returned 4 veterans. So I like Pat to get it done here. Nebraska, they weren't much better last year. They finished 3-9 overall as well, 1-8 in Big Ten play as well. But they did throttle the Wildcats last year. It was 56-7. Drew Martin Bets in Lincoln. But there's a lot of new faces down there in Lincoln this year, right? You get quarterback transfer Casey Thompson from Texas. He's going to be the one taking the snaps and pulling the trigger here. And he's taking the snaps from a first-year starting center. I also get first-year offensive coordinator Mark Whipple from Pittsburgh. So there's a lot of new faces there for Scott Frost. Scott Frost, as we all know, he's on the hot seat here. A little stat for you, Drew Martin Bets. Scott Frost is 8-15 against the spread as a betting favorite while he's been at Nebraska. Okay, so take that for what it's worth there. The amount of turnovers this team had last year is astronomical. Last year, Drew Martin Bets, the line was minus 11.5 Nebraska given. That was in Lincoln. Now you go to a neutral site in Ireland, and you could get 13.5 here. I'm going to take my chances with the Wildcats. Fitzgerald will have the boys ready with that revenge in their head. I'm taking the points. You're going to give me the points in conference in a different country. Give me the Wildcats plus 13.5. I'll get to the window again when it gets to 14, Drew Martin Bets. Week 0, that's my big game breakdown.
I like it. CT Bets, one follow-up for you, because it is a Big Ten game in another country like you talked about. How much is that worrying you or maybe helping your bet that they're having to, deal with passports, get over there into a new country, this travel time slot? I mean, is that a huge factor in your handicap?
I honestly, I think it helps me. I think because both teams are going to be in the same boat here, and I'd rather be playing this over here. Obviously, I don't want to play the game in Lincoln like we saw last year when they got throttled. Would it be that much better at Northwestern, right, Cal? I mean, they don't get too many fans right there. The last few years have kind of been a little bit of a drop-off for Fitzgerald, so he's trying to get back in the mix of the Big Ten. So it's not non-factor to me, Drew Martin Bets. If anything, I think it helps.
Okay. Yeah, I would agree. Listen, I would love to talk about this game as well, but I'm just going to agree with CT in what he said, and that talk about Pat Fitzgerald. I mean, just a couple of years ago, I joked that they were my new Wildcats team because they were such a great underdog cash for me. That kind of fell off last year just because we've kind of seen him on a roller coaster ride, right? But more experience this year. They're going to have a solid running game, and I really do think that this Northwestern team can keep it close with a overrated Nebraska team. Nebraska is like Texas of the Big Ten to me. They're not back until we actually see that they're back. And yes, you got 22 transfers coming in. You've got new coordinators. Joe talked about this today on Bet On It, how, basically every single one of the assistant coaches had to fall on the sword for Scott Frost. And now it's his turn to prove that he actually wasn't the problem. So we'll see. I lean towards the points here. This is going to be a light card for me this week, Drew. Just full disclosure. I don't anticipate playing too much. It's week 0. Nothing's really too exciting. And I've got a lot of work to do between now and actual week 1 of college football.
Oh, I'm picking up what you're laying down, KV. I've gone back over. I mean, I've been doing this, like I left my straight job 8 years ago. Week 0 and week 1, for whatever reason, I'm not good at college football. I don't know what it is. I've thought about this before coming on the show because I'm like you. I'm going low volume, week 0, week 1. I think it's because when you're handicapping really early in the season, like a first game, you're trusting what other people are saying about the teams you're betting on. Whereas when you start going week 2, week 3, and then onward, you can go by what you have seen on the field. And I think it's a better kind of foundation to start a handicap. I don't know if there's anything really to that. That's just my thoughts on the subject. But Kelly, I'm with you, a little bit lower volume. And actually, for my big game breakdown, I was going to head to the NFL here and talk about, hey, something CT bets you might be interested in here. New England Patriots, Las Vegas Raiders. We're seeing a total as high as 38, mostly 37.5 here. And I like it under. We've seen the NFL playoffs here. In week 1 of the NFLX, it went 14-3 to the over. Week 2, we saw a reversion back to the mean. And I think that has something to do with, players getting cut. A lot of times players that really didn't have a realistic shot at making an NFL roster. And I actually think that helps defense more than offense. And that's why we saw more unders than overs in week 2. And I think that continues here to week 3. We're going to get more sound tackling, more defensive-minded football, plus the fact coaches aren't going to want to extend these games as much. There's only 3 preseason games. You got week 1 the next time they're coming out. And lastly, in particular to this matchup here, we get the New England Patriots where their defenses look really good. They have co-offensive coordinators with limited play calling experience. They're not going up tempo. I think that takes over this game. Neither team looking to push the pace. So I'm on the under of the Patriots and Raiders. Give it out to the clients. Give it out here for big game breakdown on the show. Trig, what about you, man? What do you got for big game breakdown?
Yeah, I mean, first I'll just say I agree with you guys. Week 0 tends to be tough. Week 1 I'll have more plays, but week 0 it's usually a short card, a short board, which is kind of what we're seeing this weekend. Few more games than last year, but I haven't bet anything yet. So I'm going to talk about NFL preseason as well, Drew. Just in general, as far as preseason betting, because a couple people have asked, I figured I'd start off the top. I like to look at head coaches. That's one thing I put a lot of stock in. Some of these guys care. Some of these guys don't. It's just the reality of it. You can look at head coaching records, and you're going to have a few guys that just keep winning preseason games, and some that just don't seem to care about them. So I look at that, and I look at backup quarterback play. I'm less concerned with the starters and more concerned with the guys that are going to be deciding these games in the 3rd and 4th quarter. But what I found interesting about NFL preseason is all of the market moves off of the news to the starters. And I've had a really solid preseason so far because I've been able to sort of figure out when to fade, I suppose, that narrative. So I will be looking to do that again this weekend. But what I'm going to give you today is the only thing my only sort of opinion so far on week 3. And that's actually one that's moved a little bit, but I kind of agree with the move here. So I'm going to talk Eagles, Dolphins. We'll start with the head coaches. Mike McDaniel, I don't know that we have a ton of info on him yet, but 2 games into his career, he wins the first one, and he certainly coached to win last week, and he had his team in position to win last week, but they doinked a field goal, lost 15-13. Nick Sirianni for the Eagles, they somehow won last week, but he just hasn't coached these games. If you go back to last season, I just don't know that he's really trying to win. He's more or less just has his guys going through the motions, and I don't think he really cares about the final result as much as some of these other coaches do. And then for backup quarterback play, Teddy Bridgewater was awful last week. I think he'll play better. And for Kelly in Vegas, her boy, Skylar Thompson, was awesome last week. 9 for 10, drove it right down the field, 129 yards and a touchdown. And I just don't think Sinnott for the Eagles and Carson Strong, who's still getting his first taste of pro speed, they just don't do it for me. So this has moved kind of across the key number. Right now, I'd be more or less looking at the Dolphins to win. But you know what? I don't really know that it's going to matter. I could kind of see the Dolphins just rolling the Eagles here. I don't think Sirianni cares about these games, and the Dolphins are their offense is playing at a much higher level than the Eagles' offense. So that's sort of my big game breakdown for this weekend. I like the Dolphins. I would try to lay 3. I don't really love laying 3.5. If you can find a -3, -120, I think that's fine. But also look for some of these overreactions in terms of the news with the starters, because if you can find a good group of backups, like I've cashed 2 weeks in a row with the Jets. Their backups have been playing awesome, and they come out and they just dominate the second half of these games. It's something you can look for again this week.
Like it, Trig. Good breakdown. As we got the big game breakdown in the bag, we got futures regular season win totals up next, guys. As we're moving down the list, we're actually on time. Episode 1, season 2. We're doing work here.
Val's going to be happy. Val's got to be happy.
Yeah. Hey, it's always good to be on time. That means a lot in this world. It's setting us up for organization as a sports bettor and finding more winners than losers. Kelly, I know you said low volume here. And also, you're not a big futures bettor, which I want to say something. Like, if you got a friend that's throwing out future, maybe pump the brakes on betting a lot of those. Not only the hold time, there's usually a higher VIG involved with that. So if you're new to sports betting, just a little tip there. Kelly, did you want to throw out anything else? And if not, in terms of season win totals, any games you're looking at, what about the Kansas State, football program? What are you hearing? New quarterback? Is it optimistic? What are you thinking there in the Little Apple?
Everything I'm hearing is really great, Drew. Adrian Martinez fitting in well in that system. Deuce Vaughn should help open up Deuce Vaughn should help him open up his mobile quarterback game, just because Deuce, in my opinion, top 5 running back in college football. He's never going to get the praise, just like Darren Sproles didn't. The little guys always get screwed, but he's going to get his payday once he goes to the NFL. The Deuce is loose yet again and again. I think that's going to help open up things for Adrian Martinez. The offensive line that just let Skylar Thompson, that Trigso just nicely gave a compliment to, get obliterated the past year, is another year older. The defense is looking really well. I expect this team to win 8 games. We talked about it on Bet On It earlier, which I don't believe is off the cutting room floor yet. But that is my best season win total bet. I bet it the last 8 seasons. Didn't cash one of them, unfortunately, but K-State's consistently undervalued because of teams like Texas, Oklahoma, and in the Big 12, that's going to be no more. K-State should be able to win 8 games. They have a favorable schedule. So even though I'm not really playing anything this weekend, or at least I haven't gotten to the window with anything, I do agree with CT's Northwestern that we spoke about. And there is a possibility I might end up on Wyoming. We'll see how it plays out. Our producer, Joe Ranieri, loves the over in the Hawaii game, and I'm sure on Saturday I'm going to be sitting on my couch going, all right, fine, I'll take a little action to watch the Rainbow Warriors, because I definitely don't have the stomach to bet the under there. But as far as season win totals go, I haven't bet that many yet, Drew. I just, like you said, locking up your money for that long gets a little exhausting. I'd rather sift through the stuff week to week and find some real value here. I actually have 7 futures bets in the NFL. We'll get to those next week, which is just mind-boggling that I bet that many. I can't even begin to tell you. I told some of the Barstool guys I'm doing their show on Friday, I said, yeah, I didn't really bet that many. And I started looking through and I'm like, oh my God, I bet a lot. So I'll have a lot more to bring to the table. As I mentioned on Bet On It, we gave out 3 regular season win totals. In between now and next weekend, there may be 1 or 2 more that pops up. But as I mentioned, the futures bets just aren't really my jam. I've never really gotten into it again, locking up, thousands of dollars until, after New Year's is not really my forte. I like to keep my bankroll where I can see it. And that's in my wallet and use it as necessary.
Sure. I mean, future, and they also cost more, to make your bet on $100 bet. Usually you have to risk 110 to win 100. And a lot of the futures markets, people don't realize it, but like the example can be, you have to risk $140 to win $100. I know it doesn't.
Absolutely.
K-State was.
I laid 180 at 6.5 wins with Kansas State. It's over $2 now. The Barstool Sportsbook actually has it at 7 wins, and I'm sure some other books do as well. But that's where you got to kind of shop around and figure out what you're looking for in terms of value. But yeah, I don't want to lay minus 150. Why do you think I don't like to bet Triggs baseball? Reds plus 1.5. Who wants to lay minus 145?
Never more than minus 130. Never laid minus. I've never once laid minus 145.
Again, Cal. Just don't.
I never play those. I never play those more than -130, so that's just a completely we're going to strike that joke. Can you edit that out of the show completely?
I cannot. But I will say this. I am going to tail a couple other really sharp people. Ralph's got some really good futures bets that we gave out on Bet On today. I'm going to tail him on both of his, Marco and Joe as well. So I do have some action. It's just personally, like Drew said, there's a lot of hold there. Some of the books have a significant hold percentage on some of their futures bets, and that kind of just tells me, you know what? I'm looking for the overreactions. I'm looking for the situational plays week to week. I'm looking to hit at least one parlay yet again this fall. So the futures stuff has really taken a backseat for me.
Well said. The hold was the word I was looking for, Kelly. Thanks for picking that up. CT Bets, we got to get you in here, man. Futures, season win totals. What do you got circled, bro?
Yeah, Drew Martin Bets. I'll go through these real quick because I know we got Jay coming on here, and I'll just fire through them. I'm going to tweet them out later. Kel, it's funny you brought that up because I used to feel the same way, and I said that to our good friend Brad Powers the other day. I was like, Brad, what's your take on locking up all this money? And he goes, Chris, it doesn't matter to me. If I get a good number on it and I have that ticket in my hand, I consider that cash. And I thought that was a great fucking answer. And I kind of feel the same way. I bet a lot of win totals this year. Probably the most I've ever played, and I played a few futures. I've given them out on Twitter. Drew, I gave a lot out on Sports Grid TV with you a couple weeks ago, but I'll just fire through them, and then I'll give my best one at the end here. So I played Oregon over 8.5 wins at -110, Iowa over 7.5 wins at -105, Baylor over 7.5 wins, -120, USC under 9.5 wins, -110, LSU over 6.5, -150, Akron over 2.5 +125. I cannot take the credit for that. That is Kenny White and my good friend Dan Lifshat's play. They've been on that for months, so I hopped on board with that. I bet Ohio State -14 over Notre Dame week 1 -110. That number is long gone, 16.5 now. Dan Lifshatz and I bet Ohio State 7-1 to win it all months ago. That's long gone. Bama over 10.5 -250. Bama over 11.5 +130. Will Anderson Jr. to win the Heisman 24-1. Ravens over 9.5 -110. Ravens to win the AFC North +175. Ravens to win it all 22-1.
I'm talking about the NFL futures. We got to have something for the next show. That's why I didn't give out any of mine.
10-1. And my favorite one, Drew Martin Bets, that I gave out on your show on Sunday night a couple weeks ago is Rocky Top, Tennessee over 7.5 wins. I got -160 in my pocket. It seems to ticked up to 8s and -270, -200 on 7.5. So I got a good number there. I'm feeling good about that one. Josh Heupel's in his second year, Drew Martin Bets, and the expectations were not high last year, and he got 7 wins. I expect him to get 8 or 9 this year and cash that ticket, Drew.
There you go, Josh Heupel. Tennessee. I heard Alabama in there as well. CT Bets. I don't know about that one, man.
Yeah, I don't think they're losing a game, and I don't care that it's public or square. Doesn't bother me one bit. Could care less. They run the table, no problem.
You laid 250 with Bama? Is that what I heard you say?
-250 over 10.5. Yeah, they lose one game. I win my ticket. Yep,
oh my god,
absolutely. Yep,
I just got really lightheaded. Don't mind me.
Yep, a lot of sharp people that we're friends with did the same thing. So no problem there at all.
CT Bets, can you take over? I think Jay's calling me.
Hold on, you answer that call. I'm going to take over for a second, Drew. I just wanted to say, as much as it pains me to say nice stuff about him, the sharpest win total guy I know is on this show. He's in the bottom right hand corner. So all that stuff is like very playable. And since Drew didn't ask me, I did play one bet of my own that I'm going to give out. It's my best season win total. The only one I gave out all of last year was on the show. Ole Miss. It cashed easily. But I played some of the stuff Chris just talked about. And the other thing I played, my only season win total in either college or the NFL, is the New York Giants over 7 wins.
Oh my God. We're done. I said wait for NFL. Fine. I'm going to start rattling off all my NFL now. You're not in charge of the show. Where's Drew Martin Bets?
All right, hold on. All right. I will wait that's a teaser. I'll wait for the NFL for that, whatever. That's the only one I've actually played that I came up with. But and now Chris rattled a bunch off, but I want to talk about one that I really like. I love Akron over 2.5 wins. I think so.
Name
first of
five
all,
players on the Akron team. Go.
It does. So it's not even about that, Kel. The point is, and I
wrote my point.
No.
Name some zips. I want to hear some zips.
I'm just gonna say that CT kind of put me on this. He said, I don't know if he said Kenny liked it or someone, but
Kenny liked it.
The point is,
I got that text too.
The point is,
I'm also on it. For what it's worth, I'm also on it with you. And I also cannot name a single Akron zip.
I can't either, Cal.
That's the thing. You don't have to, because here's just the math on it. This is how I look at
it. Because
right?
Kenny's smarter than all of us combined. I just blindly bet it.
Yeah. Well, that's also probably true. But you got plus money on 2.5 wins. Okay, they're gonna play St. Francis week 1. So you're essentially, the bet is, can they win 2 MAC games? That's basically the bet, right? Because if they lose to St. Francis, you can just tear it up. It's probably over. But I think they'll win that game, because even last year they crushed their FCS opponent. They beat Bowling Green the last 2 years, and the MAC is just not good enough. They're going, you look at the last couple of years, they've won a MAC game. Okay, so they should at least get one. And you got a lot of bad, inconsistent teams in the MAC. So it's almost like by accident they should be able to win 2 conference games, right? They were 2-10 overall last year. And they have a new coach who was it's Moorhead. I think he was at Mississippi State for a minute, and he's getting a second chance as a head coach here after a short stint his first time around. So, with what the other guy built, he's leaving him a little bit. It's almost like if they can fluke their way to, it's 2-10 has to be the floor. They could probably win 4 games. If they win 3, you hit at plus money. I don't know. I just think I think it's 2.5, because 3 years ago they had that 0-12 season. 2020 they went 1-5, but that was 6 conference games.
Drew Martin, feel free any point in time you can chime in here. Akron, I know we got Akron way more important things to do than talk about the Akron Zips.
That's the play, Cal. Akron over 2.5 wins.
Oh, God. This is the show, you guys. Season 2, episode 1. I'm super excited to be back with my favorite guys. Drew Martin Betts. Do we have Jay Cornegay?
Yeah, we got him. He's connecting right now, joining us for the first time on the Hustle. So excited about that for sure. And I missed some of the conversation, but I'm seeing the intro there, Kelly, to season number 2, episode 1. Absolutely. And maybe for a little filler here, I don't know how in detail we want to get, but what did you think overall about the WagerTalk meet and greet this past weekend in Las Vegas? Huge success? Or I
thought you were going to ask me what I thought about season 1 of The Hustle. No, like I said, my boyfriend calls it fuck around hour. He just called right now. I was like, hey, I'll text you after The Hustle, and he's like, enjoy fuck around hour. That's what this is. This is a group of friends talking about games, having a good time, whacking Vivas. And that's basically what the WagerTalk meet and greet was, except I didn't have any Vivas because FedEx fucked me over, and I don't want to talk about it. And I had a really delightful backup that I smuggled in from the golf course. And then Ralph's kid tried to steal 6 of them from me. And of course, Trig drank some. And the whole time, all I wanted to do was tweet FedEx and just tell them what horrible people they are, because CT Betts went so out of his way to mail me enough Viva to Las Vegas, to John Murray's house, and I still didn't get it. It's still probably sitting at a FedEx location right now. And some jerk that ruined my package is going to get a drink Viva for free. I'm just so mad about it. Sorry.
Oh, that's ridiculous. If we had Viva, it would have been the perfect weekend, because it was so much fun. It was good to see everybody, Rick, Alec, Johnny,
I had
Detroit.
18 cases or something mailed to John Murray's house, and it kept saying not delivered. And I'm like, what is going on here? It's here. I don't know. This is why, you just gotta, this is what I should have done. I should have just packed an extra suitcase. Should have had CT Betts mail it here, packed a suitcase to Las Vegas full of Viva. That's what I should have done. I should have brought no clothes, just Viva.
I mean, you should have aimed maybe a little lower than 18. What did you have, like your own truck coming in? Like, how do you get 18 cases?
First of all, during March Madness, we had an entire pallet of Viva. And I thought, okay, this is like a 4-hour party.
It was gone in an hour.
Yeah, it was gone. It was gone really quickly. But I thought 18 cases was sufficient enough to get us through. I don't know, whatever. I'm still mad about it. But it was good because then I was forced to be somewhat sober this meet and greet, unlike the last one. And it went a little bit better. Poor Mark Lawrence. I talked to Zeroff the whole time. Didn't talk to anybody else. Just wanted to pick one of my favorite handicappers' brains because for once I got to be a fan.
Oh, I'm upset I wasn't there then. I love Mark. He's the best.
Oh, yeah. Jim Feist was there. Mark Lawrence was there. So, tons of old school guys. It was honestly awesome to hear them and what they had to say. And, Mark's talking about, the underdog way. And I'm like, God, Mark, if you were just 40 years younger, we could have been together, buddy.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, Viva Tequila Seltzer. Only if we had it, guys. 4.5% ABV. Kelly, grapefruit is your favorite, I believe. And I think it's my favorite during the day, to tell you the truth. I mean, if you're mowing your lawn, something of that nature, it goes down good. But if you're looking to mix...
You sound like you're from Kansas, Drew. Mowing your yard. I can just now picture Drew Martin Betts on an old shitty riding lawnmower drinking a Viva.
I've never actually been on the sitting ones. It was always my job, growing up to mow it and push it. But in Florida, the lawns I've noticed are a lot smaller than in other states, probably than in Kansas. So, hey, it is what it is, guys.
We definitely had an actual tractor that's what I mowed the grass with.
Yeah. Hey, we got Jay connecting right now. Maybe we can get to best bets, and then we'll hit the sharp move segment there at the Westgate. So going around the horn here, CT bets. Do you wanna hit any best bet for this weekend, Ben?
I have a best bet. It's college football week 1 here, so it's Labor Day weekend, Sunday, September 4th, a 7:30 Eastern game, and it's Florida State versus LSU Superdome. Neutral site, but pretty much a home game for LSU. People are really down on this LSU team this year. It's probably has a lot to do with all the ridiculous Brian Kelly offseason videos of him faking the Southern accent. But there's still a good amount of talent left here from Coach O's roster. I don't think there's a reason why they can't put together a decent season. The wide receiver room, absolutely loaded. They return Keyshawn Butte, one of the best wide receivers in the SEC. They get transfer quarterback Jaden Daniels from ASU, Arizona State. He'll have plenty of targets here. Running game will be good with Emory Jr. They get Penn State transfer Noah Cain. My brother went to Penn State. This kid, I've been watching this kid for a while. This kid could run, and I think having both of those will give them the air and the ground attack here. I just don't think Mike Norvell has this Noles team back to where the fans expect them to be here. They do return a decent amount of starters on both sides of the ball, but I just don't see it this year. Don't forget, this team lost to Jacksonville State last year, first game of the year, and then the kid proposes to his fiance.
Not the first game of the year. The first game of the year was Notre Dame. I was there, and they should have won as touchdown underdogs. And I started the hashtag Fire Mike Norvell comment, and when they should have fired him because then they had fucked around and lost to Jacksonville State, looked really stupid, and everybody from the FSU fan base then apologized to me, and I'm like, see, I saw it a couple weeks before you guys did. CT, I'm with you. I lean towards LSU in that game as well. I don't know if I'm going to end up getting to the window, but I'm not convinced that Florida State and all the talent in the world is going to save that team.
Yeah, I bet this about a month ago. I have -2.5 in my pocket here. I still like -3. Drew Martin Betts. Think Brian Kelly makes a statement here. Comes out in first game, gets it done. Play on LSU Tigers week 1. Best bet.
Let's go. I'm in a group chat with a bunch of FSU guys, and man, they don't like Mike Norvell. It's hot. The seat is hot as it gets. That was a sharp call there, Kelly in Vegas. I think we got Jay Cornegie coming on shortly here. But Trig, throw it over to you, man. You got a best bet for the show?
I do have a best bet for the show, Drew. I meant to dig this up and have Ranieri clip it, but I forgot. We were doing other things in Las Vegas all weekend. But listen, first hustle of last year, your boy gave out Georgia at like 8-1 to win the whole thing. It was the only future bet I gave out, and it won. So we're going to try to do it again. But I'm going to the NFL, Drew. I like the Buffalo Bills to win the Super Bowl. Plus 650. I really think I really think they get it done this year. I don't know why Kel just rolled her eyes at me, but like, listen, there's a history of teams getting close, okay? And then they end up getting there. And the Bills it makes sense. You look at college, Clemson loses to Bama, comes back, wins the next year. Georgia loses to Bama, wins a couple years later. The Broncos lose in 2014, win in 2016. The Chiefs come a game away, win in 2020. The Rams lose in 2019. They win it last year. The Bills have come close 2 years in a row. And, AFC Championship last year, they were 13 seconds away. I think they go to the Super Bowl if CT doesn't pull that Chiefs bet out somehow and knock off me and Kel in that game. The point is, Josh Allen, he's the best quarterback in the league. 70.8 completion percentage in the fourth quarter and overtime. 149 passer rating in the playoffs. Their defense is great, and they have a nice veteran leader in Von Miller. Tell me how this team doesn't at least get to the Super Bowl, guys. Plus 650. It's a win. There it is. Bills winning the Super Bowl. Just gonna leave it there.
Plus 650. Tell me how it doesn't happen. Oh, that is that's top of the
I want you to ask the first question I want to ask Jay Cornegay when he comes on here in a second is, Jay, how often do the odds-on favorites actually win the Super Bowl? They're the odds-on favorite. It doesn't happen.
I can't wait. I'm gonna let you kick it off. Because I know they were giving away tickets for like closest to the pin. I wasn't there. Westgate's giving away tickets on the Bills to win the Super Bowl. That means Jay, John, all the boys don't think the Bills are going to win the Super Bowl. Can't wait to hear what he said.
And without further ado, one of the best sports betting minds out there, sportsbook director at my favorite sportsbook in Las Vegas, the Westgate, Jay Cornegay. Welcome in, Jay. Thanks for joining us. Oh, okay. Really? The audio, not sure if he's on mute or if it's on our end, guys, but that is Jay Cornegay, and we'll try to work on that here. Shh. I don't know, but Kelly, what do you think?
There's so many jokes here right now that I would love to make, but Jay helped me break into John Murray's house over the weekend to steal his dog, Ellie, and it just made my day. So I'm not going to make fun of him about old guys in technology right now because he's going to get this figured out, and I feel very confident that Jay is going to figure out how to unmute himself. By the way, I spent 15 minutes earlier trying to teach my dad how to turn on the volume on the side of the iPhone and instead, like, turn on the ringer. And he couldn't figure it out. And I was just like, you know what? I'll see you next week. I'll handle it then. Like,
oh yeah, it's a lot going on there, but sometimes it's tough. Some of this new connection stuff, it can be a little bit tricky, and it's just one click away. But hey, it is what it is. Sometimes we'll have to get him on next week if we can't figure it out. I think we possibly can before the end of the show. But Kelly, what's your guess on what he would say on your first question when you ask him?
No, they don't win. The odds-on favorite doesn't win. Never. When's the last time it happened? When's the last time it happened?
That's what I'm saying. So if it hasn't happened in a while, if it hasn't happened,
you just compared. No, you just compared. You were like, last year I did this in college football, and this college football. No, we're talking about the NFL.
That's not. First of all, that's not what I said. What I said was there's precedent for teams getting close and then coming back and winning a year or two later.
But when are those they need to get teams close. The odds-on favorite? They aren't.
But what you're saying is it never happens. So first of all, that's probably false. I guarantee you the odds-on favorite has won a Super Bowl at some point within the last decade. And if it hasn't happened in a while, it's probably due. So that's all I'm saying. It's like you're still odds-on favorite. You're still getting 6.5 to 1. I guarantee you, come playoffs or whatever, they won't be 6.5 to 1. You'll probably have bet. So it's like, and this is my whole theory with future bets. Just because I'm just saying that you're going to put yourself in a good position.
Jay Cornegay can't talk. He's holding up a sign right now that says, "I agree with Adam." My God, Jay's never coming on the show again. Guy can't figure out how to unmute himself.
Sharp guy.
Can't figure out how to mute himself, but he agrees with Adam. That's why he's giving out Bills tickets closest to the pin. Couple $100
I'm
on
sure
the Bills.
I'm sure they'll make it back somewhere else. They're gonna make it back somewhere else if that actually.
They
happens,
always do, don't they?
They always do.
I'm pissed Jay couldn't figure it out. I wanted to hear what he had to say.
Oh, that would have been perfect.
I did too.
I don't know. Maybe the phone on mute. Not
technical
really sure.
difficulties. Adam couldn't figure it out. Jay Cornegay couldn't figure it out. But we're all here.
Oh, I have it figured out. I just told you what it was. Told you to play. So.
Okay.
Well,
anyway, we'll have to get Jay back next week, I guess, Joe.
Exactly. We'll have to get him on next week.
I don't want Jay to come on this week. There's nothing to report. I want to know next week. Week 1, college football, like Drew said, is so hard for me every single week. It is mind-boggling how hard week 1 is. Usually like late September, I start hitting a stride. So I fully expect to go like 1-4 the first Saturday. It's going to be great. Can't wait.
Yeah, low volume. Maybe go low volume. Brent Hall saying 2016 Patriots won it. That might have something to do there. Paco Healy in the house as well. We got Brian, Jermaine, all of you guys. Keith Landry, thanks for joining us live here.
2016, the Patriots were the odds-on favorite.
Keith Landry, the Bayou.
Steve Lambert in the house as well.
Who would it like? They had to be close. The 2016 Patriots, no, like they were still loaded. I believe that. If they weren't the odds-on favorite, they were close. So that would have been the year they beat the Seahawks, maybe, right? I think they beat the Seahawks.
Oh God, what a shitty game! Can we not talk about that?
Oh yeah, that's not a good game for Cal. I forgot about it.
It's a great game.
Awesome game.
I'm sure CT had Pats for a million.
There you go.
And then
there's a fun story about who we saw at the Westgate playing craps. Speaking of that Super Bowl.
Oh yeah.
I just remembered Marshawn Lynch was partying at the Westgate on Saturday night. We were all there, and somebody goes, "Is that Marshawn Lynch?" And I go, "No." And then I did a double take. I was like, "Oh, that is Marshawn Lynch just randomly standing here at the Westgate." So speaking of that Super Bowl, I did not bring that up to him because I'm just not a fangirl, so I don't ever talk to celebrities. But pretty funny that he was still in Vegas after driving around on a rim with no tire.
Yeah, he did a number on that rim. Let's just say that.
He's a lot taller than I thought he would be. I don't know. That's one thing I took away from.
Was he?
Was he not?
I was sitting at a table, so I'm not really sure. Also, everybody's a lot taller than me, even Adam.
Yeah. Well, guys, that's gonna do it for the show. We couldn't get Jay on. Maybe next week and get him some sharp looks here for week 1 action. But hey, episode 1, season 2 in the books for The Hustle. We're going to be going live 6 p.m. Eastern time, 3 p.m. Pacific on the WagerTalk YouTube channel at The Hustle Show Pod, brought to you by Viva Tequila Seltzer. Go to vivatequilaseltzer.com. You can order there. Got 7 more states, so a lot going on. Follow them on Twitter as well at Viva Seltzer. I am Drew Martin, Kelly Stewart. We got Chris Thurston, Adam Trigger. Check them out, wagertalk.com. Free live odds at wagertalk.com. And guys, we'll be back next week. So best of luck in week 0 for the last preseason week in the NFL. And we'll be back for week 1 breakdowns next week. Come back and join us. Best of luck until then.